Hello there, my name is Zegam Kazmi and you are watching AVZ News. First let's talk about the most recent and probably the most important event. On November 9, Wednesday morning, Donald Trump made history with his victory over Hillary Clinton. No one imagined this outcome, as a year ago, people thought he wouldn't even run for president, but he did. Then they started saying he wouldn't win any primaries, but he did. They thought he could never overcome resistance from the Republican establishment and win his party's nomination, but he did. And last but not least, no one imagined Trump to even compete against Hillary, let alone win. But here we are, as he has become the 45th President of the United States, all by staying true to his methods and tactics. As for the result, the poll showed Trump getting support from mostly male and white voters, with getting 57,233,506 popular votes, while Hillary Clinton won the hearts of females, African American and Hispanic voters, with 56,287,481 votes. They didn't just see Donald Trump win for presidency, but also saw how the Republicans won the control over the House and the Senate. They won 54 seats, with the Democrats falling with 44 seats. Clinton would have needed 4 seats and presidential victory to regain control of the chamber, with the vice president casting a deciding vote to deadlock Senate. Even though the Americans themselves elected Trump for president, it also allowed a protest as thousands of people took the streets across the Western America and cities in California, Oregon, Washington, all witnessed angry citizens lighting up objects in flames. There were also 15,000 people gathered in the University of California in Los Angeles. Things got so bad that Canada immigration website crashed down at the time of the election night, having people speculate that Americans wanted to flee. All that can be done now is for America and the world to accept this outcome and hope for a better future. Now, let's speak with Afzal Siddiqui, who will now talk about our Prime Minister and his new $1.5 billion ocean plan.
Yes, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is announcing a $1.5 billion ocean protection plan. He is taking this initiative after a tugboat ran aground near Bella Bella, British Columbia and spilled around 100,000 liters of diesel fuel in the water there. He said that the ongoing incident at Bella Bella is unacceptable and referring to the spill, it's time for a change. This protection plan is going to cover the Atlantic, the Pacific and the Arctic Oceans, which will be funded for 5 years. The protection plan is going to cover a marine safety system, restoring the marine ecosystem, research for oil spill cleanup methods, and strengthen the Canadian Coast Guard, and also reopen the Maritime Search and Rescue Sub-Center in St. John's, Newfoundland. Trudeau is calling this the most significant investment ever made to protect our oceans and coastlines. Thank you, Sego.
Thanks a lot, Afzal. Now, let's talk with Jay Connor, live from Toronto, who will talk about the $7 billion transit fund approved by the Toronto City Council.
Thank you, Jacob. Mayor John Tory's vision of SmartTrack is a new transit system that will provide new options and ways for people to get around the city easily and quickly while improving their access to it. A detailed report came in saying that SmartTrack construction will take place between 2017 and 2014. SmartTrack will help solve overcrowding at bus stations such as a young subway line. The city also believes they can collect more taxes from this idea while not increasing the tax rate, and they can use that money to spend on the city's share of the cost. SmartTrack will be built on the Metrolink's Go Express Rail program. Let's wait and see what SmartTrack really is. Back to you, Zagam.
Thank you, Jay, for informing us. Now, let's head over to India, where we have Harry Best telling us about how India's rate is 500 and 1000 rupees note.
Yeah, India is going to get rid from the 500 and the 1000 rupee banknote. This was a surprise move made as part of a crackdown on corruption and illegal cash holdings. People will be able to exchange their notes for new 500 rupee notes and 2000 rupee note in any bank, head post office or sub post office. Indian cash holders can change their money for the next 15 days coming. So people are rushing to get their cash exchanged. This was done to lock out any money that is unaccounted for, known as black money. The government wanted to do this so they can take out cash acquired by corruption or being withheld from tax authorities. Finance Secretary Shakti Kant Das warned people that the bank would closely monitor the exchange of old notes for new ones. Back to you, Zegum.
Thanks a lot, Harry. Now, let's have a look at National Center for Foreign Animal Disease, where an employee was potentially exposed to the Ebola virus. The Canadian Science Centre for Human and Animal Health works on the prevention, detection, control, and reporting of foreign animal and emerging diseases. On November 7, according to the Director of Canadian Food Inspection Agency, Dr. John Copps, an employee was working with 6 infected pigs and noticed a split in the seam of his protective suit during decontamination after working in the Level 4 lab in Winnipeg. The incident occurred during standard decontamination procedures before exiting the lab. The employee met with a doctor at Public Health Agency of Canada, but due to privacy reasons, the organization hasn't revealed whether he took that vaccine or not. It will also not reveal where he is in isolation, but he will be monitored for 21 days by local health officials. Ebola has killed more than 11,300 people, mostly in West Africa. The World Health Organization said earlier this year that Ebola is no longer an international health emergency, but added that flare-ups at decreasing frequency are expected. Now, let's go over to Alex Wong, who will talk to us about migrant crisis in Hungary.
The Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban was trying to make an anti-refugee bill, but the MPs had rejected the bill. Hungary's parliament had rejected Prime Minister Viktor Orban's bill to block refugee settlement in Hungary. His party, the Fidesz party, did not get 2 opposition votes for a 2/3 majority in parliament. The bill was going to reject the European Union's set quota scheme that was going to put 1,294 refugees in Hungary. But because of the opposition party, the Jobbik party, the bill has been rejected. The Jobbik party has demanded Orban to tell wealthy foreigners to tell about the cash for residency bond scheme. So they buy special bond states which are 300,000 euros to give the refugees the right to live in Hungary. But Mr. Orban refused it and called this move blackmail. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. Now, let's talk to Washin Ping, who is speaking to us live from the scene in Mississauga about a very dreadful incident.
Thank you, Zegum. Yeah, I'm at the scene of where the crash occurred. Yesterday night, 2 brothers from Oakville who were missing for 4 days were found in a pond near 9th Line and Thomas. The silver BMW was found submerged underwater. While investigators still have to identify the bodies, their father, Mohammed Khan, confirmed that was his sons found in the pond with the car. Malik Sikander, an older brother of them, said that they managed to escape through the sunroof, but it was too cold and dark, which made them confused and swim the wrong way. The investigation is still ongoing as police officers don't know how the vehicle ended up in the pond. They went missing after lunch on Friday night and were last seen at a plaza in 10th Line and Thomas. Investigators are looking to see if anyone witnessed or had any video footage of the vehicle. Back at you, Zegum.
So sorry to hear that. Mine and the world's prayers are with the boys and their family. Before we end things off, let's take a look at how photo radars can become a new addition to Ontario. On November 8, Kathleen Wayne, the Premier of Ontario, announced the return of photo radar, which is basically a device that automatically sends tickets to the owners of speeding cars. Photo radar has been a controversial issue in Ottawa. Mayor Jim Wonston initially opposed photo radar, arguing it was cash grab for the city, but later changed his stance if the technology was only used in school zones and only if the ward councillor wants it. If passed, the law would allow municipalities to lower default speed limits from 50 km per hour to 40 or 30. The law would give municipalities the power and choice to lower limits in individual neighborhoods or wider areas. Photo radars were first introduced in 1990s by the NDP government, but it was killed by Premier Mike Harris after the Progressive Conservatives won the 1995 election, in part of a pledge to get rid of cameras. As things are, photo radar will be a new addition to Ontario and is sure to bring change for the better. This was Zegum Kazmi, and you are watching AVZ News.